Look at the... Just ready for it to fucking be here, man. Fired up, brother. All right, let's go. The link below for Cortex goes to the page requested. Oh, so I have to remove that link. We killed the Cortex stack some time ago. That stack was a very popular stack for many, many years. It was the first stack that I actually ended up building. But in the end, Torque surpassed it in sales right away. And, Torque is honestly a better stack. Like, it's just a very well-rounded, heavy-hitting stack. So, you have to remember, too, also, each time that we re-up on the stack, there's a minimum order quantity. It costs us 25 grand. So, to have one versus two, one really, really good one, kind of good, ended up working better. Ryan, 2 bottles, 20% DHT gel on the plane from source list. On the plane. Oh, cool. So inbound. Free T 221 SHBG 36, total 1083. What is optimal level DHT, and should I just include my protocol? The optimal level DHT for you, it's variable. The number that you're gonna feel really good at. And erections are really good, and you can use it as a tool for, masculine drive and energy and stuff, but also, aiding erectile quality, increasing girth, increasing erection quality throughout the day or for sex or whatever. That's really it. I wouldn't be too concerned about the numbers, The only time you might want to look at the numbers if you're taking DHT is out of curiosity, seeing where exactly it goes. Where does it go? Where does that DHT go? How high does it go? God, I can't believe I fucking reverb on for the first 5 minutes. My bad, brothers. My bad. I'll have to listen to that and see how stupid it sounds. I'm excited for that. Yeah, so that's really what I would shoot for. The level that makes you feel good, where you have the masculine drive and energy and confidence, where it's not frying your fucking hair, and where your erections are better and libido is better. The crazy thing about it, relative to libido and DHT, people are very confused about this still. Is it estradiol? Is it testosterone? Is it libido? Or is it DHT? It's not estradiol. Okay. All estradiol does for libido is make it so that you're allowed to have it, because you crush it too low, especially with inhibiting aromatase, and then you don't have it. Excuse me. That's what estradiol does. So just can't be too low. Too high, it does all this inhibition of erection quality and forces prolactin release and all this other stuff, and isn't good for your prostate. But relative to libido, what DHT does, assuming estrogen is not crushed, and you have some tests as well, is DHT makes you makes like little parts of the female insatiable. Like it is hard for you to focus when those parts are present, when DHT is very high. My girlfriend, okay, she is a fucking blonde bombshell. She's hot. She's hot, dude. Just her little candid moments, after sex, like just her kind of like maybe getting dressed again, or I have, always I'm like this because I'm on test, so I have high DHT, but especially if I'm dosing DHT, I have to like stop. I can't even think. I have to like stop, and I'm like, dude, every single fucking part of what I see right now is like making me crazy. That's what it does to you. That's what it does. I don't have a foot fetish, but her feet are fucking cute. Her feet are fucking sexy. That's what it does. You see every part of a female's body or whatever it is you're interested in, and it just drives you fucking crazy. And if the DHT is higher, that feeling is intensified, where you just you can't get enough of it. You start making out, and it just like everything goes crazy. Just like kind of when you were young, when you're just starting to get used to, when you're not used to, but it's starting to surge DHT. Remember those times, when you were maybe a teenager and whatever, kind of creeping up to your late teens and early 20s, whatever, and you're around a female, just all the alarm bells are going off. It's DHT. DHT is absolutely critical for that crazy libido where for women, you're just so interested in them sexually. Sorry, I ate a Nashville chicken sandwich last night, a bunch of hot sauce, and it gave me some like reflux, which is now causing me to clear my throat 1,000 times. So I apologize for that. Good morning, Ryan. Fired up for this one. Brain gains and banana gels. Banana gels, brother. Banana gels. What are you talking about? You officially made my coffee jealous. Let's biohack this day into overdrive. Let's fucking go, bro. Coffee's jealous now because of the live stream. I got 8-ounce Red Bull. I not only like the caffeine in Red Bull and the B vitamins, I like the taste. Rod Farva bought the source list. Congratulations, Rod Farva. Been fighting PSSD. You mean, okay, right, for 3+ years, going to try 160 a sip per week, 1 ml of DHT gel per day. Wish me luck. Good luck. I think that's pretty okay. Yeah, you might find you need a little HCG. 1 ml a day on 160, that might be fine. You know, it all depends. You know, you have to find the right DHT dose that won't take the estrogen gene expression so low that you feel like you have low estrogen, because that can happen too. And that will mute, you know, sexual function to an extent, just like crashing estrogen would. But the right amount, just like the right amount of AI or the right amount of estrogen, period, is very, very useful. 160 milligrams of cypionate is a good dose. With HCG, even at modest doses, you're probably going to aromatize about 55, 60, maybe even 70 there. If you do all the lifestyle stuff, like making sure thyroid is optimal, you're very lean or lean enough, you don't drink a ton of booze, then, you know, maybe you'll bottom out at about 45. At 140 a week, which is a protocol that I ran several times with long esters, doing every third day injections or every other day injections, with 250 IU HCG every other day. I think my E2 goes like 45, 45, 50, something like that, which just slightly above my range. I was talking to somebody yesterday and looking at all the data regarding estradiol. Yeah, there are some anomalies or outliers which require their estradiol to be 25, 25 on TRT. But looking at all the data, I've distilled that 35 to 45 is the range within which people people function the best. Yeah, there was echo because I kept goddamn reverb on. I forgot about it. I literally was looking at it and turned it on, and then I had an Alzheimer's moment. Has your PFS client recovered to 100%? Which one? Which one? Plenty in the past, though. But what people need to understand about that is, like, I'll often get the question about PFS is like, okay, so, if you get a PFS person to the point where they have morning erections, nocturnal erections, spontaneous erections, sensitivity, libido back, well, then can they go off of hormones? Well, of course not. Of course not. A man that's at, 300 nanograms per deciliter of total test and below range free test gets on TRT, it solves all his energy problems and, drive problems and dick problems, in 6 months or less. Is that guy going to go off TRT then? No, then he's going to go fucking hypogonadal again. So when it comes to these people, they're in dire need of endocrine system upgrades, specifically, sex hormones, androgenic hormones. They're in need of that. So, those people will be on hormones and should be on hormones for the foreseeable future. Here's the bottom line with finasteride. When you inhibit DHT for a long time, guess what, man? You're inducing fibrosis in penile tissue. You are. You're inducing a bunch of collagen deposition and adipocytes, which are fat-containing cells, where smooth muscle should be. Can't get erections that way. You then need to reverse that. Only way to reverse that, there's a lot of ways to reverse it. PRP would help, the P shot, certainly, doing multiple iterations of that. But you need DHT binding. You need androgen receptor binding in the penis, preferably systemically, but also locally. When they rub this DHT gel on the shaft, it acts locally, and some go systemic because you have blood vessels. So, people, it's like this whole recovery, like, the whole problem with the forums around people that have PFS or PSSD or any sexual dysfunction is they go, can I take lithium orotate and be cured? Well, fuck no. Are you fucking crazy? excuse my abrasiveness, but you need to understand, dude, that you are in a deficiency, man, and it's causing all kinds of problems. It's atrophying, the organ itself, the brain side, of dopamine, oxytocin, spinal cord activation, acetylcholine firing, neurotransmitter binding in the penis. Whole thing's fucking down. Androgen receptors potentially need to be upregulated. 5-alpha reductase for sure. You need to continue taking things. A guy goes on TRT, gets symptom resolution. He's not going to go off. Why would he go off, brethren? So, hope that makes sense. Anthony's very lean, 50 milligrams intramuscular prop every other day. Does 1/2 versus 5/8 mean much in terms of injections? If you can get away with if you can get away with a 1/2 inch, do it. 5/8 inch would be better. Yeah, I've got 5/8 inch, pretty high enough gauge needles where I can, if I wanted to pin daily, like prop, I could pin in the dowel or whatever. When I was running daily prop, I was doing a 1.5 inch. Very thin though, high gauge. You can find them on Amazon. I just got to hunt for it, and it was good. It was good. Anthony, how would you know when to lower test versus HCG if you believe estrogen is an issue? Ultimately, HCG is going to cause some independent aromatization, unrelated to the testosterone that it's creating, but also aromatization related to the testosterone it's creating. So both. To give you an example, on 210 a week of tests, pinned sub-Q every day, so 30 milligrams a day. My E2 went to 35. 35. That's it. Just 35. Adding HCG, 250 IU every day, took it to 55. So that's a 20-point increase. If you did 250 IU every other day, it'd probably be a 13 to 15-point increase. It'd still be an increase, right? So, but after that, you're not there is no additional increase. After that point, you know how much HCG is increasing estradiol by looking at bloods pre and post, continuing to dose HCG. At that point, it's really just then about modifying the test dose. So if estrogen's too high and you found the right HCG dose that keeps sensation and testicles functional, you need that HCG dose. Then you've got to work around the protocol otherwise. The test dose can go lower, or you work in DHT, Masteron, Primo, Proviron, or an AI. That's what you do. That's what you do. As far as a benefit to dosing HCG on the same day as prop, listen, the aromatization from HCG is happening pretty much right away. Right away. Leydig cells produce aromatase in response to HCG. That's just it. So, I guess something to think about. Ultimately, if it's every other day, it's only 1 day difference. It really doesn't matter all that much, to be honest with you. You really just got to find the HCG dose that works for you and then work around it by lowering the test dose or adding something that, reduces estradiol. Again, I worked with a guy for, I want to say it's about 4 months, because we had to do frequent bloods and we had to make several adjustments on the AI. It was Aromacin on 150 milligrams every 3.5 days. So 300 a week, test cypionate. And I had to work with him it took about 4 months for us to dial in that it wasn't every 5th day of 12.5 milligrams of Aromacin, because that would work for a little and then sexual function would take a nosedive because estrogen went too low. It wasn't every 6th day. It wasn't every 4th day of 12.5 milligrams of Aromacin. Things would work for a little bit and then things would get wacky. And that was good data. That's the information I need. This guy was so good with feedback. Greatest client ever. Thomas, if you're watching or if you end up watching this. The feedback was so good, we recognized. And he did punctual blood work. We identified his sweet spot's 45. 12.5 milligrams Aromacin every 7 days. Boom. Done. Gets to ride off into the sunset with a happy TRT protocol. So it may take some time to dial in the AI. And if you don't get side effects, joint pain, shoulder pain, tendon pain, because some people do regardless, you find the right dose, you're good to go. Ryan Michael. We've got similar names, brother. Hey, Ryan Michael. That's me. That's me also. Could anathate apply to 1 to 2 times a week, plus a small amount of cream daily mimics your suggestion about combining a long and short ester. Enanthate applied? You mean injected? And a small amount of cream daily? Yeah, to some extent. I think what that's going to do, the reason that those hybrid protocols are pretty good is because you have this pretty even, testosterone. If you're doing twice a week of testosterone, it's pretty even, but you are going to have some peaks and valleys there, definitely. But daily cream, also just controls some level of the testosteroneization and the DHT. That's like, more of a peak and then a trough and a peak and then a trough kind of thing. So in some cases, that's just good. That's good. What worked for me, so one protocol that worked for me really good, specifically for erections, was 100 milligrams of testosterone enanthate every third day, just injected intramuscularly, and then 1 pump of cream a day. 200 milligram per milliliter transscrotal cream, VersaBase. Yeah, that worked really good. For me personally, it was just a little inconvenient, I guess. Whatever. It was just a little complicated. I'll go back to it if I end up having to. I don't really see a reason to. Zionic. Hey, Ryan, quick question. Any tips for triggering a morning BM without chugging too much liquid? Trying to keep weigh-ins accurate and things. Honestly, coffee. Coffee would probably be it. The thing is, too, it's about avoiding certain things. If I eat pizza 2-3 days in a row, there probably won't be a BM for, 2 days. And then it all starts coming back. Biggest way to facilitate that is ensure you eat a salad a day, and you stay away from high quantities of cheese, which tend to just block things up, slow everything down, slows motility down, intestinal motility. So that's really what I would suggest. Yep. Hey, Ryan, can you share your favorite YouTube channels related to health, science, medicine? Ninja Nerd is one of them for sure. He's the only guy that breaks down stuff from a super scientific level, but also very detailed and makes animations and drawings about it. Like he'll break down every single facet of every single hormone system. Whether it's hypothyroidism, he'll explain and draw a map of like the pituitary, of TSH, of thyrotropin stimulating hormone, of all the precursor, even the precursor cells, the cells that ultimately end up producing the TSH, go down the whole stream of things. Prolactin, hyperprolactinemia. He breaks down the entire thing, and he even breaks down, what things may trigger prolactin and how. Like people are often confused about how estrogen, causes prolactin increase. Well, it basically inhibits the D2 receptors on the lactotropes of the pituitary. Those are prolactin secreting cells. So estrogen inhibits those D2 receptors, the dopamine receptors. It also inhibits dopamine firing in this region of the brain called the arcuate nucleus, which is kind of just above the pituitary. He's got a map of that. If you want to cement your learning about some topic of physiology, Ninja Nerd on YouTube. Guy's got 2 million subs for a reason. Otherwise, I like to be so detailed on this that it's hard for me to find people on YouTube that aren't vague about their explanations of shit like this. And to be honest, in terms of the pharmacology of stuff and some of the anecdotals, but really breaking down literature-based perspectives on stuff, it would be Vigorous Steve for sure. There are some others, but I mean, everybody has their own, perspective on it. Dave Lee, as an example, great YouTube channel, right? A great leader in this space, does talk about things from a scientific perspective, but he also has it seems like Dave also operates from these abstract ideas about how hormones work or should work and how the body works in unison, hormones with other hormones and other body systems. And if you're talking too scientific, you never get to understand those things where he makes analogies and shit like that. So Dave's useful in that regard too. So you kind of have to pick and choose and watch them, watch them all. I think very basic level would be Balance My Hormones, Mike from the UK, I believe, or somewhere over there. And, the other doc that he's got on board with him, very fucking cool. Those guys are good. And also though, Rand McClain, R-A-N-D McClain, has a clinic, an HRT, basically a wellness clinic in California. Been very well known. Was Jay Cutler's coach, I believe, at some point, a steroid coach, or just kind of doctor / coach regarding some of this stuff. Knows and hangs with Michael Hearn. That guy is both. He'll give some analogies, but he's also ruthlessly scientific. He'll talk about mechanisms. He's much more pro AI than anyone. So that might turn some people off. So pay attention to that if you're not into that kind of thing. But I think that would be it. Rack poll: if they don't nerd out like us, the more complicated TRT protocols become. Yeah, the less adherence rate and more stressful it can be for some people. What are your thoughts on minimalist protocols? Absolutely. If you can just dose, 120 milligrams a week of test split up into every 3.5 days, or every other day, or every day if that works for you, and 100 IU, I'll call it 200 IU twice a week or 3 times a week of HCG. It's on the very simple schedule, and you do nothing else. Great, it'd be great. I like a little bit of DHEA, not a lot, not 100. I'm dosing 20 milligrams a day right now of that. I like HCG, but I also like bringing in DHT. It just complements the hell out of the rest of the protocol, and the dose that's right for me, it doesn't even have to be that high. Doesn't cause me hair loss, doesn't cause me any acne. Like, I'm pretty clear of acne at the moment. So minimalist is good. If you can make that work, make it work. Then you can just focus on your life and don't have to be micromanaging and overthinking your TRT protocol. Joey B, are post-Accutane and post-finasteride the same thing? They are not, but they have similar mechanisms. I mean, Accutane is doing some of the same shit regarding an inhibition of DHT. They're 2 different drugs, so they ultimately probably do different things in terms of all the deleterious fucked up shit they do. And the treatment is all relatively the same. You have to get DHT up. You might have to apply it to the shaft. You got to get test up. You have to have enough estradiol, but not too much. Might have to regulate the 5-alpha reductase enzymes. And you might have to do, at the organ level, restoration of, health of the penis. Because you've got atrophy and fibrosis potentially, and among other things, or just lack of exposure to androgens for a while, which causes those things. Ryan Gooden, estrogen has been up and down, trying to dial in, still have overall meh feeling. I'm starting to think high hematocrit could be issues. It's currently 54 and could be rising. I don't feel particularly good at above 50. My breathing changes a little bit negatively. I guess that's just different for different people. One of the things I think I can attribute that to, because some people can sit at 54 and not have any noticeable symptoms, is I had long COVID, which almost definitely gave me some a degree of micro blood clots, which I've taken a good degree of nattokinase and serapeptase to resolve. But there's no way to measure it. D-dimer looks fine. There's no clotting factors that actually are elevated at this point. The microclots wouldn't really do that. So, high hematocrit, bothers me. If you're feeling meh, yeah, sure, 54 could do that. If your blood's fucking thicker, you're not going to get enough oxygen, ultimately. And, you're not going to feel as good as you need to go. Estradiol, there's a paper that there's a great association with higher serum estradiol and higher hematocrit. Testosterone causes this too. DHT probably to a lesser extent, but estradiol as well. So just something to think about. The thing is, though, is if your diet, supplements in the morning, sleep, lifestyle otherwise is good, and the dose is enough for you on TRT, you shouldn't feel meh. You shouldn't feel meh. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, let's fucking go. Last night I was up to 1 unintentionally, and but it was very worth it. It was very fucking worth it. And I woke up at 7, just about 6:48 or something, and I feel fine. I feel good, I feel good, but I got a lot of tests in the system. Please create a porn star stack of performance enhancing drugs. Dark Fitness, no real question, brother. Thanks for all you do. Have a Red Bull on me. Bam. You know what? I appreciate that. You know why? Well, this is the 8.4 ounce. These are 250, 279. The 12 ounce ones are $3 a piece, bruh. I'll go and buy like 4 of them, and it's $12. Like, all right. That much? Thank you, brother. Really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Glad you're here. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, dude. Means a lot, bro. I'll get some fruit stripe gum later or something possibly with that. I will buy 1 latte in the morning with that. Thanks, dude. Honestly. Dylan S. Bloods on 3 pumps, three clicks of cream, 20%. TT 1700 is your total test. Wow. DHT 644. That's nanograms per deciliter. Yeah, the top of the range about 90 or so for DHT. If you're 644, that's fucking phenomenal. Still waiting on ultra sensitive estradiol. Why is DHT so high but having killer headaches? Quest scale goes to 65. Drive is okay. Well, I mean, look, DHT is a wonderful, wonderful hormone, but if it's too high, it's going to inhibit estradiol at the gene expression level, and that won't feel good. So you have to find the right dose. Why is your DHT going so high? Because you're rubbing it on the testicles, probably. You're rubbing it on scrotal skin, and you probably just happen to have a ton of 5-alpha reductase there. You know, a ton. Regarding killer headaches, I wouldn't. That's not a side effect of TRT or DHT. I mean, no way. I mean, my DHT at the moment is sky fucking high because I'm putting DHT gel on the shaft and my forearms. I don't have headaches. So, you have to look into that. That's a U response potentially to DHT, but it's not common. Try to get it down. Maybe 1 pump on the testicles and 2 pumps elsewhere. Yeah. 2 clicks on the shoulders, 1 on the balls. Maybe none on the testicles then. Or you're just one of those people that, and I think you should be lucky to have this, where you've got a ton of 5-alpha reductase, you got a ton of DHT conversion. You know what I mean? You might do better on injections because it's less DHT. You might do better on injections because it's less DHT, man. Dream big. How long for master on enanthate to fully kick in where I'm feeling the DHT drive? 4 to 6 weeks. Well, no. I mean, after the first injection, you're going to notice it. You should. It's not placebo when you're having more DHT like AR binding. People are just so stupid. Placebo. You can notice to shit day 1 if you're in tune with your body. But over time, like what people are usually referring to is that it takes, with enanthate, it'll take several half-lives to reach the steady state of where it's going to go. So you will feel different at week 6 than you do at week 3. Yeah. And even then, so your body might take another couple weeks to get used to that new hormone level because you had just reached the peak of it where it's going to stay if you continue dosing the same way. Trev Star, behind on the stream, but wanted to thank you for the recommendation of adding cream in addition to my daily prop. Huge jump in libido 20 minutes after application. This is not uncommon. Yeah, again, one of the things that I found worked really well was 100 milligrams of enanthate every 3rd day and a pump of transcranial cream a day. Yeah, 200 milligrams per milliliter, just right on the boys, right on the mildly shaved boys, manscaped boys. And things work, it just, the erections were crazy then. The nighttime erections were out of fucking control. So, yeah. I'm glad. Again, there's something to this. Listen, sometimes you need a swift peak. You need, like if you just have steady state levels of testosterone, but estradiol is really not where it needs to be. You're going to be anabolic and feel good and all that stuff, but estrogen will be a little too high and the sexual function won't be good. But if you then balance that out with a different ratio by adding its ratio in this case, by adding some more test and DHT, well, you get some inhibition of the estradiol effects and you also get more test and DHT. So the ratio changes and it becomes favorable at that point. It's kind of what happens. Brother, any thoughts on nootropics or compounds for repairing the brain? Oh, you've got CTE at 35, concussions. Your best bet would honestly be cerebral lysin. Yeah, B2B dosing, couple cycles of like 20 days at a time of cerebral lysin every day. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to find the dose that works for you. I forget exactly what I was doing, maybe 2 mils a day for 20 days. You might want to do slightly more. I forget exactly the doses I was running on cerebral lysin. I have to look at it, but that'd be my answer. I mean, I really don't think there's many other peptides there. Dihexa is another one that you could use. I think cerebral lysin is better for this. It's just studied for repairing blood vessel function and repairing neurological damage from strokes. I don't know how much caffeine is in here. It doesn't really say. Does it? 80 milligrams? Liking it, though. I do like it. Silver Shroud. Have any of your clients noticed a difference in hair loss with the 20% gel versus oral DHT? Listen, I have one guy that I'm going to bring on the channel who showed me literal pictures of his hair, like where he was kind of losing hair. I mean, this is a guy that had to go on 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, which caused him to have post-finasteride syndrome or very serious sexual dysfunction, and then came to me to resolve it. We're resolving it. The spontaneous erections are back. The morning erections are back. The venous leakage is going away. But one interesting other thing is that he's not on test. It's just DHT, Proviron, HCG. He's showing me pictures of before the protocol and after, and his hair is growing. His hair is growing. The hair in the middle of the head is growing. What's that about? What's that about? Kind of flies in the face of what people fucking think, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Could it be the fact that he doesn't have test in the picture, so it's not increasing free hormones substantially? Yeah. Could it also be the fact that he's applying it locally on the chest, the shaft? Yeah. For sure. But listen, if the dose is too high, regardless of where it's applied, because some is going to go systemic, you're probably going to have some hair thinning. Yeah. But no difference between oral. I mean, probably it's a hard one. Oral peaks real quick and then leaves the system. So you're still going to get some of those effects, whereas the gel/oil is more of still peaks pretty quickly, but it's more of a managed kind of, half-life. But in the end, the seesaw has to be, or like your hair or your dick, if there's serious problems. And if there aren't serious problems, you got to go, do I want this benefit of DHT, or do I want my hair? Find somewhere in the middle where it doesn't really mess with your hair. For me, the dose that doesn't mess with my hair is 0.25 milliliters a day of DHT. And it's like seemingly, I'm still trying to dial that in because I want to see if I can run a daily, with my current protocol of 200 milligrams a week, just 150 every 3.5 days. Or 105 every 3.5 days. Trying to find the right, DHT to do that daily, and looks like right now it's 0.25 milliliters. Yeah, 0.25 milliliters, and I just apply that to the shaft. But that doesn't cause any kind of change in my hair. So you have to find what fixes all the other problems, or what aids and is a great addition to the protocol, and doesn't fuck with your hair. DHT can, but also in weird cases, it can grow your scalp hair. That whole thing is not defined. It's not just DHT causes hair loss. It's fucking way more defined, way more nuanced than that, relating to the subcutaneous tissue in your scalp, which lessens when you have more DHT, which causes less of a buffer for, hair follicles to, be healthy, and ultimately then they end up being a little less healthy. There's probably ways around that. Simon Stone, when using Masteron for estrogen control, do you mainly have your clients use Mass Prop for dialing in, or Mass Enanthate? Mass Prop, because it's easier, it's quicker, or that sort of thing. So, we get to know right away if the dose is too high or too low. And if we overshoot, which can happen, we know that we'll be back in the zone in like 3 or 4 days. Yeah, 3 or 4 days, sometimes sooner, which is useful. Whereas anything Enanthate, it takes longer, because it takes longer to leave the system. It's there for longer. Especially people that are having to, because they're running a non-aromatizable androgen and taking estradiol just to get the right level of estradiol, like they fully control it kind of thing. If they run estradiol Enanthates and they overshoot, it takes longer for that estradiol to go back down. Whereas if they run estradiol valerate, which has a shorter half-life, it's easier. Johnny Cook, it doesn't look like my TRT clinic has ever tested for DHT. Is there an a la carte lab? Yeah, discountedlabs.com. Discountedlabs.com. Does DHT gel improve lean body mass or only decrease fat water? Here's the thing, brother. What I notice on it is that, listen, if you want to decrease fat mass on your body, you must manage what you eat. DHT is not capable of making you lean when you eat like a glutton. It's not capable of that. But what I do notice is that, like, even on, for me, what I would consider just TRT, 200 milligrams a week, like, and also the way I respond to tests, like 200 milligrams a week is probably like 120, 130, 140 for some people that respond like aggressively in terms of animalism and shit. On that, Hold on, I lost the chat. And I forgot what you said. I forgot what the main question. Okay, here we go. Lean body mass. Yeah. If I control my calories, which I do, I mean, pretty much every day, I'll go over and then I'll be at maintenance and then I'll go under. If I see it's really just about belly fat, that's really where it is. And I don't like my face looking fucking bloated at all. What DHT tends to do is just sculpt everything. Yeah, what I was getting at is like, I'm not at a high dose of TRT, but like in a stringer at the gym with a pump, I look fucking insane. I look insane. And, like my shoulders look more round. The muscles look more defined. That's what DHT does. It makes your muscles and stuff look more defined. Do I have after cut? Yeah. Like, look at that. That was last year or something, but I was on Proviron. And, I think it was 280 a test prop a week, which is not a lot, by the way, but I certainly was starting to really put on like some shoulder mass. But look at the shoulders. Look at the chest. It just like, look how fucking defined that is. But I had to be lean as well. I had to be lean. I couldn't have been eating pizza every day at large amounts, or otherwise food in large amounts. I couldn't fucking done that. But this is the kind of stuff right here that DHT does. So yeah, I mean, for sure, because of its antagonism of estradiol, probably at various tissues, muscle tissues, etc., skin tissues, like, yeah, you're going to have less subcutaneous fucking fluid. No question. Dry compounds. They're dry compounds. DHT is but very much a dry compound. For sure, brother. April is our busiest month. We've already racked in like a bunch of consults, long-term coaching packages. There's going to be a point in April where I can't take anymore. So, or we can take them, but they're going to be, a month out. Like we can't get you in for another month to do like even the initial fact finding call. Those of you thinking about booking 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, you got to do it. You got to do it now. Otherwise there's going to be a wait period. Something to think about. There's discount codes on coaching in the description. There's discount codes on Torque, our nootropic stack in the description as well. Brothers. Hey, brothers. Hey, brothers. Hey, sup, brothers. Sup, man? What's going on, bro? Sleep good? Did you sleep good? Did you wake up on time? Did you have your fucking breakfast? These days, what I'm doing for breakfast is a couple pieces of bacon, 2 eggs, English muffin, some ketchup. Love it. Love it. If I skimp on good quality food for more than 2 days in a row, like if I'm out with my girl or if her and I are lounging at home or her house or my place and we get food kind of thing, I will eat a salad at night. Big salad, cucumbers, carrots, Parmesan crisps, vinaigrette dressing. Vinaigrette. It's good shit. It's good shit, boys. It's real good shit. Good shit. Just ready for the spring. That's all that the theme in my life is that right now. Work. I just got into, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or so, an exclusive relationship with a woman I had been dating, prior to that, who is fucking phenomenal. And, so she's a big part of my life. The clinic, we're going to start a hormone clinic. Yeah, it's going to be sick. TRT, HRT, thinking about that. And spring, let's go, please. Jump rope monk, how come you don't talk about nootropics anymore? I've talked about this before, but I'll break it down just super quickly for people because I don't want to bore you guys. Number one, people were using nootropics to cover up, other problems. They were using it to band-aid health problems and deficiencies that they really need testosterone for. People were actually using nootropics to cover up the fact that they had no energy and really tests would have fixed their problem. The nootropics community, while you have, a subset that are people are interested in performance enhancement and that's what they do and that's what they want to do. You also have people that are so those people have a healthy lifestyle and all this stuff. They use nootropics on top of that. You have people that have shit lifestyles or whatever and use nootropics as like drugs, like they're taking some street drug or something. And I want nothing to do with that. It's not how you're supposed to use them. You want to have a great baseline and let them make you better, make your baseline better. It's kind of what you want to do regarding nootropics. At the same time, even though I enjoyed consulting execs like Wells Fargo, I'm pretty sure at this point, because it's been 2.5 years, I can say this. I don't think there's any NDA anymore, but I consulted some C-suite people from Wells Fargo. They need, highly functioning brains. Those guys, the CFO, CTO, people at the higher level, their assistants. And it was fun. It was fun, man. Using all these various compounds and creating big regimens for them and monitoring their progress and having them report to me on how things were so that I could adjust stacks. It was really, really fun. But to me, what's more fun is hormones, because we can't get the best results possible with nootropics if the hormones are fucked. If the hormones are fucked. So, it was a necessary content pivot as well, because, from a pure audience standpoint, nootropics are still considered pretty fringe. They are. They're still pretty like unknown, unknown. They're more known than they've ever been, but they're still unknown. Those are some of the reasons, man. Ryan Lawrence, what are your thoughts behind 5 milligrams Cialis acting as a aromatase inhibitor? It doesn't. I know Vigorous Steve has talked about that. Yeah, there's some gene expression for aromatase that it might kind of inhibit at some level, but you look at your bloods and you take 5 milligrams Cialis a day, it's not changing your bloods. It is not an AI. It's not even fucking close. Steve knows that. I don't think Steve was saying that, and you just don't take it that way. And no, that's not a viable way to control estradiol at all. Culver, gonna tell you something right now, brother. Good morning, Ryan. Update for PIP was a high concentration BG test that was causing it. Right. Switched out to standard concentration. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes that'll happen, Sometimes that'll happen. Either way, prop gives you a little bit of PIP. Even in the glute. Like last time I was dosing prop was many, many months back, and I was doing it in the glute. And it still gave me PIP, but it was manageable. It was manageable. With the amount of DHT gel you're using, where's your DHT at the reference range? Haven't measured it since I've been using this stuff. Still trying to find the dose. Once the dose, I'm experimenting now with trying to find a daily dose of shaft application of DHT. Right now it's 0.25 milliliters right on the shaft, 20% DHT oil. So when I confirm that's correct, then I'll be interested in running labs to see where it's at. That's all. Where do I imagine it is with that and TRT? 200 maybe. I don't know. I don't know where it's where it is or where it's going to be, but I fucking will see. We'll see, brother. We'll see. Let me tell you something, brother. We'll see. We definitely will see. What else is going on? I don't know. Well, I'll say this. My girl, my sweet blonde bombshell, in all truth, has a son, and her son is like, going into college. He's college age, beginning college age. And one of the things, he asked his mom, like when he first met me, was like, what kind of steroids is Ryan on? Like, I'm not big in any capacity, but the camera, you can't even really tell, but like, I can certainly look like pretty big, and I'm lean and whatever, in shape. I go to the gym every day pretty much. And I'm not, I'm just running tests and, for now, but I have run cycles in the past. Anyway, my instruction to him was like, get your testosterone tested. Look at where it is and then decide what to do from there. 18-year-old maybe not want to go on TRT. You can run some Fedosia. You could still dabble in that world and just run HCG, but the guy is having a hard time putting muscle on. Point is, you could be 18 or you could be 23 or you could be 25. And if your fucking test levels aren't high, you're gonna have a hard time building muscle. You're gonna have a hard time feeling energized all the time. Hormones are fucking everything, dude. They're everything. They're everything. Everybody that I see, like at the gym, especially, that is on HRT, first of all, I can tell right away. And especially either males or females that like are above 55. Right away, I can fucking tell. And it's the physique, but it's also the demeanor. They walk around like they're young people. They walk around like they're 20. And hormones are are just underrated still. You know, we're still in a place where a lot of people are walking around like fucking zombies. You know what I mean? A lot of people are walking around fucking zombies. You know, if I run an ultra low dose of test, I'm gonna be a zombie, dude. I won't feel good. So in the future, wow, what are things going to be like regarding the prevalence of HRT in 20 years? Way more significant than it is now. Remember seeing Steve say, don't run it? Don't run what, brethren? Mickey, can you use DHT gel for an on-demand as needed basis 1 to 2 times a week? I think that you can, but you know, some of the effects are going to probably be more pronounced later in the day, 5 to 10 hours after dosing. So it's hard to, it's not like sildenafil as an example, which within an hour, if it works well for you, you'll have better erections. You know, or vardenafil, right? Levitra. It's not like that. It is, you know, it may take some time, but that day you should know. So what you should do is experiment with it, rubbing it on the shaft, and see what it does to erection quality. Yeah, see what it does to erection quality. You know, the first go round of the compounded 20% DHT gel that I did not make, that the compounded people make, the one company that has it on the source list. I dosed a lot. I was dosing 2 mils a day or something. Yeah. And I had been splitting it up between 3 shaft administrations at 3 separate times, and then one both forearm administrations. It was a lot of DHT, and that took 3 days. And then at the time, that took 3 days for me to be like an excessively walking erection, like just all the time, all the fucking time. So you have to find what does that. Now I understand. I could do that in a day. I could do that in 2 to 3 hours with a bolus. A bolus. It looks like I could do that. So it's a little less of an on-demand. Your best bet is to find like the dose that works well, that you can take pretty consistently. That would be your best bet. That'd be my honest suggestion on the matter, brethren. That would be it. Red Bull, party time, excellent, woo, woo, woo. You guys remember? Oh. Car, game on. Those movies were so stupid. I watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off a couple weeks back. Holy fuck, man. Just brings you back, dude. Brings you back, man. Next stop, Breakfast Club. Easy with the big $20 super chat. Easy, brother. Easy, brother. Thanks, man. Really fucking appreciate it. For the Red Bulls. All right, let's go. I'll buy a case now. Thanks to you, dude. A case of the 12 ounces. They're $3 a piece these days, man. All right. Now I'm rich. Thanks to you, Easy, I'm rich. Thank you, man. Really appreciate that, man. I was really worried about that case of Red Bulls I know I need. I'm running low. I'm running real low. I start panicking when I'm running low on Red Bulls, all right? I start thinking about it. I start biting my nails till I don't have any. I don't want that. I know you don't want that, or you wouldn't want that from me, I don't think. So thank you. Clay, new to the channel, new to the DHT cream. Do you have an excellent video that explains it? The most recent video explains 4 use cases for it. So the most recent, just regular content, not live streams. It does a whole breakdown on use cases. There are a couple others. So just search it within the channel internally for DHT gel, and you should be able to find all my content on it. Dream big. HRT and modafinil is like God mode. Fuck yeah. That's all I need, plus a whole foods diet. Absolutely. Yeah, some people respond, very, very favorably to modafinil. I am, as long as it's about 50 to 70 milligrams. Above that, I just get overworked. I don't feel good. It's too fast for where I want to be. I need to be just a little bit lower there. So, that's just kind of where it is. But, like some people take 200 milligrams of modafinil. That's just the dose for them. It depends on how you're metabolizing it and what you need. It inhibits a little bit of GABA, so it's increasing other neurotransmitters. It's modifying orexin neurons, so it's preventing sleepfulness by increasing wakefulness. It's really fucking powerful. Just one of those things, man. Just one of those things. Vlasis with a $20 super chat. You trying to buy me more Red Bull, man? I will drink more. All right? You guys have to know this. I'll drink as much as you give me in terms of super chats. But listen, the stores have to have stock for other people, all right? Thank you for that, dude. Do you have a follow-up question? Vlasis, love your channel. I'm on 150 milligrams test cream per day. For test cream. So you're right, you're on 150 milligram per milliliter like concentration. I've ordered the DHT gel, DHT oral provider. Would recommend taking all or one set of DHT? If so, how much? Well, it depends on your goals. You got to be clear about what your goals are. And regarding, good morning, Venus Rose, regarding your 150 milligrams of test, this is 150 milligrams per milliliter concentration of test cream. Where are you applying that? Fill in the details, and I'd be happy to answer that question. Fill in the details there. But regarding DHT oral and Proviron, I think you just start with the DHT gel. Start with the most powerful first, is what I would suggest you do, because there you can, maybe you don't even have to take oral DHT or Proviron. You just get what you need with the DHT gel. You just get everything you need with that, and go from there. That's really what I would suggest you do. That's what I'd suggest you do. But if you want to give me a little more details about your test, dose here, that would be useful. Venus Rose. Venus, isn't that like a character somewhere, I want to say? Am I missing something here? Have I gone brain dead? Good morning, though. Hope you're great. Mike, what are your thoughts on HGH? I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, to be honest, Yeah. I mean, I personally would be like wanting to monitor prolactin if I was on it. Otherwise, I think it's done a lot of really good things for a lot of people. And obviously is super fucking useful at helping you to build muscle. The degree to which it changes blood sugar and insulin, I think you have to be versed on it. And I'm not very versed on that. So I don't really know, to be honest, kind of what, how that ends up looking. What that ends up looking like. Just don't know. I just don't know, bro. It's not something I'm interested in doing at the moment either. Like, I probably go my entire life without HGH, unless I'm 65 and I'm realizing, there's perhaps some degree of atrophy in some of my body. Then for sure, I would probably want to, run some growth hormone. It might be one of those compounds that, as you age, is anti-aging, can very much help in that regard. Like one of the TRT guys or channels that talks about hormones and stuff, a guy named Rand McClain from California. Go watch some of his videos. The guy's pushing 70. Obviously he's getting up there. He's jacked. Looks fucking great. Is he on HGH? Don't know. But that sort of thing would be the target for me. When I'm 65, 70, I want to feel like a young man. I feel like a young man at 41. Feel like a young man at 41. That's where I want to be, bro. That's where I'd suggest, people want to be. HRT is revolutionizing the world. It's revolutionizing people. And some of us know. Some of us have figured it out. Nootropics were, the beginning of my forte into performance enhancement, or my whatever dabbling in performance enhancement. They're just not the whole picture. They're a very minimal part of the picture. Hormones change the fucking game. Change the game. Where we'll be in 20 years regarding HRT is a lot more people are going to be on it. Everybody that you talk to that goes on HRT is like, holy fuck, major upgrade in my life. Imagine where we'll be in 20 years. But imagine how many people are suffering right now. With low levels of test for women, low levels of estrogen, progesterone, and test, thyroid hormones. This shit matters, man. I got people that their thyroid numbers look all right. They start taking a little bit of T3, feel fucking much better. Much better. What's that about, bro? Huh? Can you explain that? All right, I'm going to end the stream, guys. Oh, your name is Vanessa Rose. Interesting. Yeah, for some reason, I thought it was like an anime character. Hope you're great. Cool name. Cool name. I had a buddy in the Army named, what the fuck was his first name? We called each other by our last names all the time, but I forget his first name. Charles Rose. His last name was literally Rose. Like that's it's rare. It's rare. It's rare to have that, Vanessa. All right, everybody. I'm going to end the stream. Questions are getting a little scanned. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Again, 10% off coaching, 20% off Torque and Sourceless right now for a very short period of time. April's our busiest month for coaching. If you need to book, you have to book. Otherwise, it's going to take you a month to get in. And that's going to happen pretty soon because the month is already doing this. The data on sales on coaching, like on bookings on coaching, is significant, as it is every April. Probably because people are gearing up for the summer, might have to do a tax season, who knows, but it's a major driving force. So if you need to book with me, book, or else we're not going to be able to get in for a month. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Content coming early this week. Sometimes look forward to that. We'll have some shorts coming out from this content that everyone that didn't get to see the live stream can go check out. I hope you guys are great. I hope you're fucking happy. Hope you're pursuing goals. Whatever in your life isn't making you happy, do something about it. Do something about it. Do something about it, bro. Never stop doing things about things that aren't making you happy. You don't get a second go round, bro. You don't get a round two, man. It's your only fucking life. It's your only life. Every single day is your only that day. You're never going to have that same day again. You're just going to keep getting older. Don't squander your time. And with that, I'll make an exit. Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone. See you later. Rock on.